Hey yo, welcome back to Tactics Talk. I am Guido, and today on World of Tanks, on this episode, we are going to do a full review for Raxter54 of one of his games, one of his replays, and we're going to actually start off with his stats. We're going to take a look at it. And just up front, he asked for this. Okay. He said, hey, can you do the same thing you did for Vulcan Spectre? Take a look at my stats, take a look at my game, and give me some advice or some things to think about in order to try to get better at the game. So we'll take a look at Raxter's stats right here. Realize this is a snapshot of his the totality of his gameplay so far, right? His resume. I did not look at the recents. Won't worry about that. We're just going to try to glean some basic information off of the 14,504 battles he has listed here. So he's sitting at 47.78, slightly below average on the win rates. 376 average damage per battle is quite low, but we'll look at tiers in just a minute. 412 average experience is also a bit low. So these are things we need to work on. Obviously, damage and experience doing the things that help win the game. I've said this before, Wargaming's experience system does a decent job of capturing the things that you have to do to win. Not all of them, but a large amount of them. So if you're working with a large average experience, you're probably getting pretty decent damage, and you more than likely have a good win rate. By good, I mean above 50%, okay? So we'll take a look at the basics down here. I talked about the battles, the victories, survived. So a couple things, Raxter, right off the bat looking at this. Number one, you don't survive enough. 24.8 is not terrible, but you want it north of 30% as a minimum, and you'd really love it somewhere near or slightly above 40%. If you're surviving more than that, say the 50s, you're either very good or very passive. You don't see many of those. There are some out there. Hits. This is the one that jumped out at me the most, Raxter. 53.93 is way, way too low on the hits. Look at what you play. Sometimes artillery mains have bad hit rates like this, but that doesn't seem to be the case. So you're doing something or some things that are affecting your ability to actually get the hits. The only way the damage is going to go up is to take more shots, but the only way you're going to do damage is to first hit. Then you worry about the pin and the rest of it from there. So we'll take a look at this, see if we can't help you with a little bit of the accuracy. There's a lot that goes into that. I hate to say it, but age, the computer, your connection, your eyesight, your frame of mind, it goes on and on. Like I said, your computer, your system. There's a lot of stuff that goes into it. But if there's anything mechanically that you're doing or procedurally within your mind as far as where you're going, how you're creating shots, and what you're doing in the game, well, that's what we can work on with me. The rest of it you're going to have to deal with, obviously, as you go in yourself. Damage ratio is low at 0.66. This is very easy. You want that to be about 1.0, and you want your destruction ratio to be 1.0. So the ratio of enemy vehicles destroyed to the number of times the player's vehicle was destroyed. So every time you die, you take one down. You can see that you've been destroyed 10,907, but have only destroyed 6,549 vehicles. So you're not giving as good as you can get. This is the same thing here via damage. You've done 5 million and some plus, and then you received 8 million plus. So we'll take a look at that, see if we can't help those things out. These are connected to the hit rate and to creating your shots and making sure that you're actually doing damage in a game. More damage than your hit points, so that you are contributing to the team instead of being a bit of a drag to the team. All right. Damage caused 376. We touched on that. Received 566. That's the average and goes into those numbers right there. Your assist is 212. That's a little bit low as well. So we may be able to talk about a few things there. Spotted, destroyed is okay. I'm not going to worry too much about the armor use efficiency. That sort of depends on the tanks that you use. And because of the various amounts of tanks, and some are very lightly armored, some are armored, this armor use efficiency as a whole over the entire account is more or less useless as far as I'm concerned. And we've got some bonuses or some maximums right there, right? 1,926 experience and 3,000 damage in one game. So if we go to the infographics here, you'll note that Raxter is a relatively new player. He's only got 14,000 battles. He plays tier 5 and 6 and 4 the most, creeping up into 7 and 8, and then it really drops off at the 9s and 10s. So he looks to be more comfortable in the mid tiers, going up to tier 8. German tanks largely, which is interesting to me because German tanks tend to be pretty accurate. So the accuracy number is a little bit concerning and interesting. If we go over here, a TD player, although if you add the the lights and medium tanks, then they're more than the TD, and pretty light on the heavy gameplay, which was interesting right there. The replay is going to be a light tank game. I enjoy light tanks probably the most in the game, but they are the hardest. They've got the highest skill floor and the highest skill ceiling in the game on the light tanks. But if you can play a light tank, if you can learn light tank, then you can probably play the rest of the game a lot better. And it looks like you're primarily light tank TD with mediums in there as well. Mediums are similar to light tanks in a lot of cases, so we'll talk about all three of those as we go. Like I said, this is a light tank game replay. So let's see what we can do about Raxter's relatively low hit rate, not giving as good as he receives, and maybe a little bit of help on the, where is it, the spotting stuff, the assist kind of idea, 212. Now this is going to be a pretty good game in his T37, but let's see what we can do and give him a hand here. Raxter has loaded into a highway game. He has spawned into the north spawn there and headed down or over to the west side. And his T37. Let's go ahead and give you a little better view of all that good stuff. We'll maximize. Actually, we'll just go one less. There we go. And he's going to push into the corner, which I think is a pretty good idea. Initially, he gets some spots right here. He's going to get up in against this building here. Doesn't appear to be spotted as of yet. Comes around the corner, sees the Cromwell, takes a shot, gets spotted, and then posts up on this building. Now, I would be very careful right there, Raxter, about getting spotted in this position and then continuing to side scrape and come out, because there are 3 enemy artillery up here. All right, let's see if I can get my mouse, there we go. There are 3 enemy artillery up here. And they are going to be zoomed into that exact spot, waiting for you to do something like that. So once I took that shot, I would go ahead and cover up against this building, because watch what happens here. There he is. Naturally, one of them is looking in the corner. That's exactly what they want to do down here. You've got to watch out for that. So we took a shot. We've got some buddies in here. We're sort of trolling around in this building. Going to take a little peek. And again, quite dangerous here, because you're going to find them poking up over this hill quite a bit. Now, they're not doing it right now. It looks like there's some of them down into the buildings down here. Down in this area down here. So it looks like you're going to move towards it. So I like that. So far, so good. I like your position. That was a good spot to go. You might have had to bail out. The good news is the enemy team did not invest a lot of guys into this corner. This corner is a real crapshoot. It's a real crapshoot. It is harder for the south spawn to push it, so you will generally win it more from your side. But if they push in there aggressively and there's only you, a Hellcat, and a Cromwell B, you could have ended up in a lot of trouble right there. So we kind of watch that guy get into the bush, kind of watch that guy, ends up dying. And we've created a bit of an advantage right here. Got a Hellcat and a Cromwell B. There's a bunch of TDs over there waiting for you to light them. We created a bit of an advantage, and we just sort of get into the bush. The caution's okay right now. Sort of looking in here. There's a bunch of ground in your way right there, so there's no way you're going to see that. That's just a little bit of map awareness if you kind of zoom out. And that's one of my points about your shot selection and about your hit rate. It is an SA thing when you want to create your own shots. And the way you get SA is not by looking through the soda straw. You want to zoom out and go, all right, I'm a scout. What's going on around me? All right, I got that guy up there. I don't see anybody down here. Are there any trees being knocked down? Are guys taking hits? Is somebody shooting my T78 or my Sturv? Nope. Okay, yep. But what we do a lot, and there's a little zoom out, what we do a lot is a lot of just soda straw action. And your zoom out seems to be, that's where your comfort level seems to be right there. And for me, and I only have the vanilla zoom out, when I'm driving a scout, I'm out here most of the time. Unless I'm trying to get a shot, or I really need to zoom in on somebody and pick a little piece off of them. But I'm definitely not just right here, just barely outside the commander's hatch. And I notice this a lot actually with newer players and players that are learning how to get better. They do tend to keep their zoom in a lot closer than your good players were. You're going to see your good players zoom out quite a bit and look around and go, hey, what's going on? Now just while I was talking, think how long you were looking down that soda straw. And we sort of look here. But there's more to look at. There's stuff over here. Have these guys been hit? Where are these guys? Did they leave? Are they moving up? Oh, look, the T-78 moved up. You can sort of see that with that view right there. What's going on behind me? Does the Hellcat have any shots? Is he in a position to get shots? What happened to my Cromwell? Well, he died creeping up over that. And this is important right here because it's a little essay. What happened to my Cromwell? Well, he died creeping up over this little ridge here, which means somebody back here saw him. That's SA. There's someone back here. Now, obviously, he died. But if I don't go, holy crap, the Cromwell died. Where is he? Oh, okay. Oh, he died poking up over the ridge. I don't really know why he died or how he died. If I saw it down there, then I know he did. But if I don't look and go, what is going on around me, then I'm not gathering intel. And you're the scout, right? So it is interesting that there is other intel to be gathered rather than other than or more than just your tank lighting guys and getting shots. I think I would have got out of there as soon as possible. Don't know if I'd have sat there and dueled the T-150, but you did get a shot. And again, this is sort of dangerous sitting right here. Nice pause. Look at that. I paused it right as that shot went into the building. Is that the actual bullet right there? Oh, look at that. No, that's his reticle. That's pretty cool. Anyway, you're sort of sitting there and there's 3 artillery. I would have tucked up against that building so that it minimized the ability of the artillery to splash me or hit me. They don't. The Scorpion tries to knock down the building because he doesn't want you hiding back there anymore. There's the artillery, and you only just got out of its way. All right, so let's think about what we're doing right now here, Raxter. We have a pretty good advantage that we have built. We've got our TDs. We don't know it unless we're really looking at the mini-map, but we got the Sturv kind of moving up. We got the T-78. Where'd he go? He's right there. And then we've got the Su-100 moving up. So we're sort of drawing in the strings here on this side and starting to close in on the enemy. There's at least one guy left in the town here. The rest of them are probably in and around here. Now this is where it gets tricky because there's a lot of sniper spots up here, bushes and things for people to hide in. I've got to think about my approach. How's the best way to get in here and get these guys lit without getting dead? Unfortunately, the Scorpion will one-shot me because he's a tier 8 TD with a big gun, and I've lost a few hit points here already. So I need to be careful, but this is probably the priority. If we can get rid of this Scorpion, that would be great. But we also need to pay attention to what else is available and where the shots are. So I'm just going to let this go for a minute. You never really investigate this. There's a Su-100 over here, and I just made him highlighted. You had that shot right there. Right? None of these guys really see you. You're down below the little ridge. Nobody knows you're here. Look at this dude. Boop. Su-100 shot right there. No apparent understanding of that. Now, here's where it gets dangerous because not only do you not know he's there, you don't know that he actually has a shot on you. And when I zoomed in, he's actually looking at you. See the silhouette of the tank? Unless that's the back, and I don't believe it is. It looks very much like the front. He now sees you as well. Whether or not he's actually aiming at you or not, we'll find out. But we don't really get it that he's there. And this is a good way to die right here without SA. Not really paying attention to what's going on around us. Now, he's gone dark. I think he actually shoots in here, as I recall, and just plain old misses. Nope, the Skoda gets a piece of you. Now, there's an unknown guy. And that's what I talked about earlier about approaches. This is very open to all these snipers up here. We know based on the positioning of our team that they're all in this corner. They have to be. Tiger Peace cleared out the town. The Su-100's watching the middle. Obviously, they're not in this corner because you guys cleared that out long ago. They're all up in here, and that's quite a few tanks up in there, to be quite honest. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 3 artillery. We see 1, 2, 3, 4. That means 1 is unaccounted for, but they're all up in here, and this approach is very dangerous. Better way to do it. Better way to do it would be go down into the water and come up through this ravine, or just plain old, instead of sort of messing around here, push straight through here and get into the ravine. I like how you're being careful, moving from bush to bush, but you really are exposing yourself to their fire quite a bit. So we'll hang out here. I would fix the turret. I would fix the turret. And that is one of those small things that can turn into a reason why you did not get a shot. Now the turret's slow, you don't quite get it online, maybe a fast tank moving right to left or left to right, you can't keep track of them. Go ahead and fix that turret. You've got the kit ready to do it. Just press 4, get it done, and that will help you overall. It's not really a gun handling thing, but it kind of is, because if I can't get my gun on him fast enough, I'm not going to get the shot. And again, this is dangerous coming on up here because we know, we should anyway know that, look at this, here he is again. Another guy over here that had shots without kind of coming up here and dueling this guy. Looks like you're trying to help the T-78, which is not bad, but we're going to get lit and have all kinds of guys with shots on us on the side here. So we come up, we shoot, we get a shot, and we're going to stand in, and thank goodness our artillery saved us. After you kill them, I saw you backing down a bit, and then we're going to go straight up. Man, I don't know. Let's see where you go from here. Yeah, absolutely. Cut down low and get into this ravine. I think that's the right idea. Fortunately, we only take one hit from the T-25. It's been interesting. I don't know if he's just taking one shot at each time. There he goes. He ends up dying. Or if he doesn't have the autoloader, because that is the Tier 6 version that has the autoloader. So he may not have it on there, or he just, for whatever reason, every time he shoots you, only shoots you at you once. That I noticed anyway. But this is not a bad approach to come up over here. I think I would have gone over closer to the trees, though. A little bit of cover as far as the branches and whatnot over there. We're just sort of coming up over the open ridge line right here. What we need to find is the stair. There he is. So he hasn't been spotted until then. You finally spot him. You get him lit. I think that's good. Kind of take a look. Start working around. And look at your turret struggling to follow. Artillery hits him and tracks him. You get a shot. And we'll back down. And boom, down he goes. We're going to come up here. And again, there's another light, right? That guy's right there, but you don't even look at it. Now, you don't have shots, but I would be zooming out as I drove, and I'd go, where is that dude? Okay, he's over there. The Sturb is with him. Okay, but we don't really even look at it, and it doesn't appear that you notice it. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure what you're trying to look for over here. The most likely place for the artillery is back in this corner. The Crusader is found. The other two are probably in these trees or in this corner. It's possible they're down here, but you've had a Tiger P and a 3485M trolling around up here for a while. Most likely not down. Most likely not down here. Sorry, down here. Not down the ravine. All right, there's one right there. Coming around, there we go. Just stop once you get clear and start firing away. Not really seeing anything with your gunnery, at least on this particular replay, that is indicating why you're not hitting people. So I don't know. I don't see an over-reliance on auto-aim. I think there were multiple places where you didn't create shots because you missed that guys were you had a firing lane on them, but that doesn't really have anything to do with why you're missing on there. So I'll be honest with you, from this replay, I can't really tell why you have 56%. Unless that's an artifact from early on, playing lower tier things with bad dispersion and fast firing guns. That's very possible. Take a look at your current hit rate, if you can parse that out, and see if you can't figure out if you're getting better at. Where should it be? Somewhere around 75%, at least. And that sort of depends on whether you are playing arty or if you're playing some low tiers that have the machine guns, things like that. You have a lot of games in the low tiers possibly that can affect that. If you are much above 80, you're probably being too careful, or you're very, very good, which is fine if you're very, very good. When I say probably being too careful, that means you're probably not getting enough shots downrange, because snapshots and unzoomed shots are sometimes required or can be used. If it's lower than 70, in the 60s, and in your case in the 50s, then you're definitely doing something wrong mechanically as far as taking shots, or potentially, like I talked about at the beginning, you've got some kind of equipment or personal thing that's going on, and that's, if you got to work around it, you got to work around it. But if you can try to get your hit rate up there as well. This was a good game. 2,442 assists, 595 in a tier 6 T-37. So I think you were doing more or less the right thing. I like the initial positioning. I like, in general, the approach. What I didn't like a lot was the lack of looking around, and that's just camera technique, trying to gather SA other than just your tank lighting guys and showing it on the minimap. There is a lot of SA to be gained by moving your camera around and seeing what's going on, because that can inform you as to where you want to go next, where the next approach is, etc., etc. It was very dangerous in the middle. Frankly, you got lucky you didn't get wiped out in the middle. You were lit several times, and guys had shots. The good news is they were so busy with everybody else that they weren't really concentrating on you. Obviously, that Su 100 would have. I don't know if he can high roll you at what you had. You had 400 something. Potentially, I think it's is it a 300 alpha gun? Su 100, I believe, something like that. So I don't know if he was going to one-shot you, but he's definitely going to hurt you if he got a shot going on in there. Ends up being a win. Nice job on that one. I think it's a patrol duty. We'll look at the results here in just a minute. So there you go. There's some things to think about. I don't know if we had any real definitive answers right here other than some of your technique with paying attention to guys getting lit and working the camera, that kind of thing. And that's a good thing. So at your current level, what you're doing appears to be going in the right direction. It's just taking a look at, all right, what was my weaknesses in the past and what are some of the things I can work on now. All right, man, I appreciate you sending that in. I do. Just as the standard, I didn't talk about it, the caveat at the beginning. When I talk about stats, it's simply as in an attempt to look at where they've been and talk about, hey, these are the things you need to work on. It has absolutely zero to do with stat shaming or any kind of BS like that. And, you know, Raxter is actually in my clan, asked me to do this, so I'm happy to do this as well. If he has any other replays, we can look at them later on and maybe see Raxter in his journey to goodness. All right, guys, that's all I've got. Thanks for tuning in, and we will see you.